was almost midnight when I left my friend's place. Took the back roads like always. Less traffic, less cops, more peace, at least. That's what I used to think. The trees were thick along the sides, tall, black silhouettes swaying in the wind. The only sound was my tires against the gravel and the low hum of the engine. Until I saw them, a flash of movement by the tree line. Headlights caught a woman in a torn white dress, running, stumbling barefoot across the road. Behind her a man. He was grabbing her by the arms, pulling her into the forest. She kicked, she screamed, her voice cut through the silence like a knife. "Help me, please. Don't leave me." She looked right at me, eyes wide, face soaked in blood and dirt. Panic in every inch of her body. But I hit the gas. I drove past her, hands shaking on the wheel, heart pounding in my chest like it wanted to escape. I didn't stop. I told myself it was too dangerous, that maybe it was a trap, that someone else would call the cops. But deep down, I knew I left her there to die that night. I couldn't sleep. I kept seeing her face, the desperation in her eyes, the way she reached out, like she thought I could save her. I watched the news for days, nothing, no reports, no missing person. I thought maybe it was all in my head. Until the knocking started. It was soft at first. 3 knocks on my window at 2:41 a.m. I live on the 3rd floor. I pulled the curtain, no one there. But the glass had smears, red and wet, like someone had pressed a bloody hand against it. Then the smell came, rotten meat and damp soil. It seeped into my clothes, into my bed. It didn't matter how many showers I took. It clung to me 3 nights later. I saw her again. Not the woman I left, not anymore. She stood in the corner of my room, pale body trembling, soaked in mud and dried blood. But her head was missing from her shoulders. Blood oozed in slow, wet drips. Her neck was torn, jagged like it had been chewed off. Her arms still reached out like she was begging for something. But her mouth wasn't there to scream. And still, I heard her. "Why didn't you help me?" I screamed, but she didn't vanish. She walked closer, barefoot on the wood, each step soaking the floor in arcane footprints, the sound wet and dragging, like flesh being peeled from bone. "You looked right at me, and you drove away." She follows me everywhere now, in my mirrors, in reflections, in my dreams. She doesn't speak anymore. She just stands there, reaching out with blood-stained fingers. Sometimes I find pieces of her in my apartment, a clump of muddy hair in the sink, a tooth on the hallway floor, a torn dress hung from my ceiling fan. I moved. I changed cars, jobs, states. Nothing helped. She's not tied to the road. She's tied to me. Because I saw because she begged, and I chose fear over mercy. I keep hearing her voice when I try to sleep. It comes from my closet, from under the bed, from inside my own head. "Why didn't you stop? didn't you save me? Why did you leave me to die? And now, when I close my eyes, I don't see darkness. I see her staring at me with no face, no jaw, no scream, just endless silence. And then the sound of wet dragging, getting closer every night, until I finally answer her. I was afraid. I was afraid, and I still am.